Okay, this is Algebra I, Lesson 23. Here we're going to talk about what an equivalent equation is. We said two equations are said to be equal or equivalent if every solution of either one of the equations is a solution of the other one. For example, let's look at these two equations. We say x plus 6 equals 9 and x plus 10 equals 13. Okay? These two equations are equivalent because the number 3 will satisfy both of them, and 3 is the only number that will satisfy both of these equations. It's a root or a solution to both of those equations. Now, let's start, let's look at, basically that's an equivalent equation. Now let's look about equations being true. 2 equals 2. Yes, that's a true statement. If we add 4 to both sides, it's still true, yes? So because of that, we get out of there a property called the additive property of equality. This was important to know. Additive property of equality. Basically, it says what you add to one side, you must add to the other side, and it will not change the equation. It will still be this equivalent equations. For example, so if a and b and c are any real numbers, then if a is equal to b, so if a is equal to b, then a plus c is equal to b plus c, and c plus a is equal to c plus b. So if a, b, and c are real numbers, and a is equal to b, then a plus c is equal to b plus c, and c plus a equals c plus b. Basically, it says if you add something on one side, you must add it to the other side, and it will not change the equation. It will make it to a different, it just rename it to an equivalent equation. Kind of like when we do fractions, we get a common denominator. We're not changing it, we're just renaming it. So x plus 4 equals 6. So let's look at that one. So we have x plus 4 equals 6. If we add its opposite, what's its opposite or additive inverse to both sides, we can do it with or without the equal sign. This becomes x plus 0 equals 2, or simply x is 2. Okay, so because of that property, that allows us to solve the equations that way. Okay. Now, since we made an assumption that to permit the use of the additive property of equality, we must check our solution. So we put 2 back in here. 2 plus 4 does equal to 6. So we're not changing anything. We're just adding to it. So the same quantity is added to both sides of an equation. The resulting equation will be an equivalent equation to the original. And thus every solution of one of these equations will also be a solution to the other equation. So basically we said the solutions will be equal to both. So we can either write it with an equal sign, without an equal sign, or with the bar. It doesn't matter. We do the same thing. We do to one side, we do the other side. So let's look at example 23.1. So basically we're just going back to how do we solve equations? What can we do? So if we have x minus 3 equals 12, we want to add its opposite to both sides. Then we simply get x equals 15. Okay, so simple as that. Now let's look at ones with fractions. These are no different. So 23.2. They're no different than when we have whole numbers. The only difference is you have different rules for adding and subtracting fractions and multiplying. So here you have a positive 1/4, so you want to do its opposite. So you want to minus 1/4 from both sides. Okay, so x, obviously a number, the sum of a number and its opposite is always 0. Okay, so now we have negative 3/8 and negative 1/4. Well, first of all, we've got signs here. So look at the signs. The signs are the same, so it indicates that we just simply add the two numbers together. Okay. Then we look at with fractions. How do we do that? Well, we have to get a common denominator. It just goes back to simple fraction rules. Because they're the same size, so now I simply have 5/8, and I keep my sign. So my answer is a negative 5/8. Let's look at another one with fractions. So these equations are not any different than what you're used to seeing. The only difference is you've got fractions and you've got fraction rules. Yes? So this is opposite is negative 2 1/3 to both sides. So clearly that becomes 0. But then you've got over here, you've got a positive 2 9 because there's no sign to imply positive, and a negative 2 1/3. They're opposite, so you're going to find the difference. Well, which one's bigger? Clearly the one that's a mixed number is bigger than the fraction. So I'm going to come over here to the side, and or right here, and I'm going to put the bigger number on top. Okay? Remember, your whole numbers are separate. I'm going to get a common denominator. Now, can I subtract 3 minus 2? I sure can. So 3 minus 2 is simply going to be 1/9, and 2 minus 0 is 2. But which one is bigger? This one. And what sign is it? It's a negative. So your answer is negative 2 and 1/9 is your answer. Or you could leave it in improper fraction if you like, whichever one works for you. But you cannot forget your rules for multiplying or adding or subtracting fractions. So it's simply how do you add, subtract, and multiply fractions. All right, do your practice problems, and your code for this is the number 99. You need to put that on top of homework lesson 21. Homework lesson 21. Homework lesson 21. You're going to put homework lesson 21. You're going to put the number 99. Okay. See you in class.